All right, Ian, we are live. Thanks
Uh,
again for meeting me up on Zoom.
we're back, and I believe last time that we talked, we talked about the whole Ninja Turtle thing, and I said I was
We
going to go
did
back because
during our origin story.
I've never really talked about that. I've always wanted to. So guess what? Now that I control the podcast, if you
You're like, I get to talk about what I want to talk about.
ever wants to hear about it, they're like, "No, tell us what it was like working with Darren McGavin." Oh, it was great. Can I tell you about what it was like being a turtle? Like, if you want to. Anyway, so back in the '90s, back in the '90s. So I worked with this company called Wandering Monkey Entertainment, and it was run by four friends out of Chicago: Dan Clark, Dan Lake, Dave Pressler, and Don Asher.
Okay, I know Dan Clark. He's the creator of the show.
Exactly, exactly.
The Ninja Turtles, the Next Mutation.
That's
In
right,
case people don't know what we're talking about.
right. So he developed the Next Mutation,
Right.
and he also developed the fifth turtle, Venus de Milo. The
Yeah, I know. I know Kevin Eastman and Peter Lard did not like that.
no. So it was too bad. She was a great character.
I liked her. She was cute. She was fun.
Right. It's so so that was shot in Vancouver, Canada. So that's where they shot Ninja Turtles.
Right.
When they did a crossover episode with the Power Rangers in space,
Yep.
they were going to shoot down here in Santa Clarita in Los
Oh,
Angeles.
okay.
So they needed to bring in new puppeteers. And
Right.
I was getting my puppeteer chops back then. And so it's really all a case of not what you know, but who you know. So they said, go down because the, um, the company that built the suits was the Kyoto brothers.
Okay. Yeah, I know them. Yeah.
They're they're really famous for Killer Clowns in Outer Space. That's their.
Ernest, Scared Stupid. Yeah, the list goes on and on.
So I went down to the Kyoto Brothers studio and I was going to go audition because they needed five puppeteers for now five turtles.
Okay.
Well, only five puppeteers showed up. So it was like, all right, for five, you guys, I guess, win.
I
So
love it.
they set us up. All they had was just turtles, turtle heads on a stick,
Okay.
and there was no bodies. And then there were these like briefcases with these two like joysticks.
Yeah, I saw the photos. You got to show the photos so everyone
Yeah,
can see it.
that's how they were controlled. So everything, one puppeteer could control one turtle. Because usually
Okay.
when you're doing stuff like this, you would have like one puppeteer would control the mouth, one would control the eyes, looking left and right, someone would control the eyebrows. And so you
Okay.
reverse everything together to try and get an expression. Where now it was like a video game. You controlled everything. So you had your joystick would go up and down, that would move the mouth. You
Right.
had a left, that would do the smile or the scowl. You had a thumb button that would, articulate the lips, and then over here were the eyes.
That's
So,
wild.
so right, left, you had your thumb for the blink, and then you had your turn, which would do the eyebrows. So there was a lot to take in.
Holy
It
cow.
wasn't just this anymore. It was now, oh shit.
Like,
So
that's insane. Wow.
so they gave us about an hour just to, feel everything out and see what we could do and what looked good. And then said, okay, you're going to show up on this day and you'll start. But for some reason, the first day that I showed up, I guess they found more puppeteers.
Oh,
So I ended up as just being a turtle wrangler. So I was the
okay.
guy who would have to dress the stuntman and get him into the rubber suit.
That's cool.
Which, I didn't want to do, but it's still a better job than, doing absolutely nothing or
It's a
working.
job. Yeah, that's cool, man. It's still cool. I dig it.
But considering it was going to be like a week long shoot, when I showed up again, I guess they were down a puppeteer, so they got moved into Michaelangelo. So I was now Michaelangelo. And what was the thing is all of this. There were two stunt guys that were from the States. All the other stunt guys were from Japan.
Oh, that's cool. Wow. Yeah.
He's stuntmen, and my guy Michaelangelo didn't speak English.
Oh.
So, I'd have to, we would have to communicate, through like, this way, or I tell him it's time to come over here. I got to put the head on you. And the other thing is they all smoked, which is weird to see like stunt guys, perfect physical specimens.
Smoking. Yeah.
I smoked too, so it was nice. So, when he was done, he'd take the head off, and he's like, okay, with that big,
I love it.
I'm like, okay. And so I had to devise because he couldn't, hold cigarettes in his,
Oh,
turtle hand,
the 4 fingers. Yeah.
took a clothespin and attached it to a straw, and it would put the cigarette in there. So it's like we would take breaks. I'd have to take my turtle in the back and go, help him smoke. So
Oh
we
my God, I love it.
think, but so it was really difficult to try and get, because everything you're like, you're still trying to learn, and then there's lines that you have to learn
Sure.
because obviously these guys are very articulate and they talk. So I had lines that I had to learn, and so I learned the lines, but then you got to learn the lines, and then you got to practice with the puppet head. And so I
Okay.
go to the head guy. I forgot his name, but he was there with the Kyoto brothers, and he was just managing everything. And so I'd ask him, we'll call him Steve for the story.
Yeah, sure, sure.
So I'd ask Steve, I go, hey, can I, take the Michelangelo head? I want to go practice my lines. And he goes, no, we can't do that. Well, why not? I said, I need to practice. He's like, we can't waste battery power.
Oh my God, really?
Because those batteries, I mean, those heads suck up so much. And they're only running just like on, small batteries.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Huge because the batteries hide in the back of the turtle shell. So we'd have to hook those up. And it's like when you're not using them, those things have to be shut off immediately.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that's crazy. You don't think like that, how much goes into it.
Right. So I never got to practice. None of us got to practice. We didn't know what we were going to doing until they would, uh, cameras were up. So they did
Wow.
all this time with the stuntmen blocking the shots, even if they weren't fighting. If they were just, walking around and talking to one another, they would spend all this time. And there were like two directors that would come in, and the main director was also from Japan, so he was able to communicate with the two, most of the stuntmen,
Okay.
block the shot, and then once they got that down, then they would bring in the turtle heads. So, if my line was, oh man, cowabunga, we're being attacked by, putties
All
or
right.
whatever.
Yeah.
If you learn that, so you get action, there's the turtle close up on Mike. He's getting to his line. The stuntman does the gestures. I start going, oh man, oh shit, I fucked up. We'll go get it. So we might do another take. I didn't hit the P. I didn't hit the P with the mouth. I got it. And then the director would just go, okay, moving on. Like, whoa, hey, can we do it one more time? Because now I got it. And he's like, no, we're good.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
so none of the mouths really ever matched up with the words.
I don't think they cared. It was kind of low budget.
I
I
was like,
like that show though.
it's like, oh, this is gonna be bad because,
Well, I guess that's why it only lasted one season.
well, here's the other thing is, because knowing the creator of the show, he was also the creative consultant as well.
Okay.
So what would happen is when you're shooting practical effects like this with puppets, is yes, sometimes the words don't always match.
Sure.
And what they would have to do is he would have to go back, watch the footage, and if the mouth didn't match up to the dialogue, he would have to rewrite the dialogue to match up to the mouth.
Oh, that's weird. Wow.
And so that was in the back of my head is like, he's going to have a fit because nothing matches.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
But they kept it. So when I watch it now, it literally looks like, kung fu cinema.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's just completely off.
So now if I watch a movie and the mouth doesn't sync up, I'm like, yeah, they didn't give them time to practice, did they? They just threw them out there and go, hey, we'll fix it in post. Like,
Oh, I love it, man. I'll tell you, the Next Mutation wasn't a great show, but it was a cool way to have the turtles
yeah,
like turn into like the Power Rangers, like with
yeah.
like the way that they filmed the show, it was the same kind of, like feeling. It was Saban.
It was Saban Entertainment, but I mean, they were awesome suits. I mean, they were amazing, and the tech that they would use to make these things, that we had was I was so amazed. I mean, it's the first time seeing them. When you see that head, and it's just sitting there, and then
Right.
you come alive and what you can make it do.
That's
You know,
crazy.
and I remember there was one scene because we couldn't really hear too much. They didn't have the guys mic'd, so we just had to. We can only there was certain scenes with like the actors, and I remember there was one scene where I had Michaelangelo and he was standing with all the Power Rangers,
Oh,
and
wow.
I remember one of the girls, both of the girls. I mean, they were like super cute, obviously I had crushes on the Power Rangers,
I
at one
love it.
here I am, and I'm like, I'm gonna see if I can make them laugh while we're just standing around. So Michelangelo is just standing there, you know, and I knew how to make him give like a goofy smile.
Okay, that's
He was
fun.
like, as soon as he like turned his head towards one of the girls, I just gave. He's like,
Oh
she's
my God, that's so
just
funny.
always trying to like make them laugh and everything. So it was a lot of fun, and it's to see what some of those stunt guys can do was amazing.
Oh my God, I can only imagine,
These were
man.
good.
That's
These were good
insane.
stunt guys who worked on this show, and I
Really?
guys who just played like the bad guys because
Yeah.
they jump and flip up in the air and land in concrete.
Holy smokes, that's
So
crazy.
I was like, this, I could never do that. And just to see what these guys can do in those turtle suits, and they had no real vision. That's the other thing, is there was a small little slit under the mask. So
Okay.
closely under the mask, you'll see like a little like two black lines. That's all
Yeah.
you have to look at to see.
Wow.
That if the mouth opened up, they can see out of that. So there was a little bit more when they were doing their stunts because there was just like an empty head that they would put on.
Oh
And
my
so they had a
gosh.
little bit more to see. But if they had to punch or do a fighting scene with that head, they couldn't really see that much. So,
That's so crazy, man.
but
It's funny. I was thinking about this show. What made me think about it was that in November, they were doing an auction for one of the heads from the next mutation.
oh,
It
really?
was Leonardo, and they
Mm.
had it up for like I think it was like 15,000 or something like that. And what's sad is that it didn't sell. I was like, oh man, I'm like, come on. And it looks good. It's still in good shape.
Yeah, it shouldn't be in that bad of shape.
No, it still looks good. You can see it. I'll send it to you.
But
It doesn't look bad, but it didn't sell.
I wonder if it still operates
I don't know. No idea.
because when I was when I was in Pittsburgh and I was working in the schools, I was teaching puppeteering
Okay, that's cool.
schools, and I was teaching the kids how to do puppeteering for film and television because it's
Okay.
quite different than having the curtain and like "Happy Birthday to you."
Sure, sure. Yeah, of course.
I knew that a lot of the older kids didn't want to do that. So I would bring in clips from Ninja Turtles and show them that, this was me. Most of the kids didn't know who they were. Like, I think my dad likes turtles. Like, shut up.
Oh my
Um,
God, dude, that's amazing. I love it.
it would have been really cool to have one of the heads there in the classroom.
Oh yeah,
Let the
I can
kids,
imagine.
only the good kids, by the way.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like three kids that I would have picked. Like, okay, you three can come up and try it out. The rest of you have to sit and watch because you're horrible. Um, I only reward the good. And but no, it's like I said. I mean, that was the only disappointing part is that we didn't get a chance to rehearse and because I'm just getting started in all of this, and I mean to for a guy in his mid 20s, early 20s. I was like 23 at the time when I was doing this,
That's so
22,
fun. Yeah,
and this is like your first job, on Ninja Turtles,
right,
and working straight into film and television. In fact, I know a lot of people there were a lot of people that were working there that were complaining and like, oh, I like doing this. So I kept my mouth shut and
right.
just did everything that I was told to do. And
Smart.
it worked out so well that they actually called me back for a couple days just to work on Power Rangers and puppeteer Elgar. He was the big
Sure.
cone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally. I remember.
He was a lot easier because he was just a mouth that opened and closed. But yeah, it was like,
Still super cool,
and
regardless.
I think that was it. And I don't know what happened after that. I don't.
Yeah,
I,
Power Rangers in Space only had one season, I think. Yep,
yeah,
it only had one season in '98. And the Next Mutation only had one season too. So they
yeah,
each had Next Mutation had 26 episodes and Power Rangers in Space had 43. So a little more. But yeah, didn't last very long.
yeah. But I'm on the credits, so
It's
if you
awesome.
want to, look and see, it says my name there as one
It's
of the
on
puppets.
YouTube, so if anyone wants to watch it, just type in Shell Shocked Power Rangers in Space and you can find it. It's right there.
I have it saved in my favorites,
Me
actually.
too. Me too. I have a movie section,
Yeah,
like a clip TV shows and stuff, and I saved it in there, so I have it always.
I like to go back and watch it every now and then.
Yeah, totally, man. It's awesome. I love it.
So, but no, I mean it was that you know that I consider one of the best times in this business. One of the best jobs. Like I said, not jobs. The jobs aren't always going to be easy. They're not always going to be a cakewalk, but it's what I've learned, from working on there, and that is practice does make perfect if you let the person practice.
I can
So
imagine.
so when I do get hired for a job, I can get a little cantankerous and say, I need to practice. We need to work on this. You know, don't just, let's not just, run through it. Let's take some time. Give me time to practice. Give me time to rehearse. And I take it very seriously.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, man. No, it's no joke. I love it.
yeah,
Hey, you told me I was like, dude, you were like even cooler in my book right now than you were before. I was like, because you were in an episode of Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
yeah. It's definitely on the resume. It's a proud moment. It's a proud
Super
moment.
cool, man. So what else we got going on?
Well, let's see. I mean, how much time do we got?
Oh, we got some time. Yeah, we're not doing bad.
Okay. What cool stories do you have in the past? You work on?
Oh, Jesus.
I
I got so many stories,
know
man.
you
I don't even
do.
know where to start.
I know you do because you got media mic. You've interviewed some cool people. You're gonna have to talk about some of those
Let
sometime.
me tell you about the first interview I ever did, right?
Okay.
So I started Media Mics in 2010, right?
Yeah.
So I emailed all these random people, like, hey, I want to interview so and so. I want free movie tickets. I want to do all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So One person gets back to me. The first person to get back to me is Denzel Washington's representative because he was on a show on Broadway called Fences.
Okay.
August Wilson's Fences.
Yeah, yeah.
And he reached out to me. Well, his manager reached out to me and goes, "Yeah, that sounds great. We're doing press day tomorrow. Can you come in?" And it's to New York City. I was like, "What's press day? How do you do that?" Like what does that mean? So literally, I went in blind. Like I had no experience.
Oh, so you did go.
I never interviewed anyone before in my life.
And your first person is Denzel Washington.
First person was Denzel Washington. Him and I, he had his elbows on the table, just shooting the shit for like 30 minutes. And that was my first interview. Was Denzel Washington.
That's a pretty big interview.
Yeah, so that kind of spawned the whole site from there. We
I,
kind of fed off that.
I only met him once.
He was nice, dude. Real nice.
Yeah.
Real down to earth.
This was back during his St. Elsewhere days.
Okay.
So, and I auditioned for a part on St. Elsewhere.
That's
And
cool.
I guess he was doing something with it because he was in the casting office.
Okay.
But he wasn't Denzel yet. But
Okay.
he was still, but it was still kind of like sometimes they do that. They don't tell you who you're going to be auditioning with. And you
That
walk
is
into the audition,
crazy.
especially if it's somebody you really, really love. So,
That's cool, man. Yeah. So yeah, I got so many stories. I can go into all of them. One time I got cold called by Keanu Reeves.
see that?
Literally, he called my cell phone out of the blue. He goes, "Yeah, I'm ready for my interview." I was like, "With who? Who is this?" He goes, "It's Keanu." I was like, "Yeah, oh yeah. Hold on, let me just go to somewhere quiet." I was like, "What the fuck?" So literally, I had watched his movie recently. It was on a movie. I think it was called. Oh God, it's been so long. I forget the movie. I'm gonna look it up right now. But and literally, he reached out to me, and I had no idea I was interviewing him. And I think he might have called me by accident, or they didn't tell me that I got confirmed for him, or whatever it was. And
Or
I was like,
he's
yeah,
just that nice of a guy. He's like, yeah, I'll just call
let
him
me just
up.
call this random dude. I interviewed him on May 3rd, 2013. So 12 years ago. And
Wow.
it was a film called Generation It never really took off.
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
It was an indie movie from 2013.
Yeah, but still, 2013. That's like, I
Yeah.
mean, I mean,
Generation UM.
Keanu's never hit a slump, really. He's
No,
always,
no, he was always pretty hot.
yeah. I mean, even if he did a bad movie, he's still Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah, totally. No question about it. That's awesome, man. Yeah, so I did that. I got so many stories, man. I interviewed Anthony Daniels, plays C3PO.
Yeah,
I did him at a convention once. It was pretty bougie. Like his entire section was roped off with black like curtains. So no
yeah,
one could see him unless you were in his circle
right.
to get an autograph. Because I guess he didn't want like paparazzi or anything like that. So literally, I come back after lunch. I go inside his tent and I'm just sitting there waiting. He pops out. I was the only one in there. We did the interview, knocked it out, had a blast talking, laughed a bunch, and then I walked out. And when I walked out, there was hundreds of people waiting to get in. And I was like, "Sorry guys, didn't mean to make you all wait." I was like 20, 40 minutes like doing this interview. We were just bullshitting.
I got I got two stories about the same Star Wars actor.
Do it. Yeah, let's hear it.
So I did one show at the Hollywood convention in Burbank, California,
Sure. Yeah, of course. I've done that show.
and I was there, and Peter Mayhew was there,
Nice.
Chewbacca.
Chewbacca, yes, of course.
So, and once again, this is when I used to smoke.
Right.
I went outside to go have a cigarette, and out comes Peter Mayhew walking in his cane.
Of course. Yeah.
Standing next to me, he's talking to his handler or representative, and
Right.
pulls out a cigarette, and he's like looking for the lighter, and I go, hmm? I hold up the lighter, and he bends down. I light a cigarette,
Epic.
and I'm like, dude, I just lit Chewbacca a cigarette. This is so.
I can't do a good Chewbacca. I can't do it. I fucking suck.
Hey, calm down, Chewie. I got you right here. I was not that cool. I was
Oh
just
man, that's so funny though.
shaking,
Bag of snakes. Yeah, I know, right?
don't set them on fire. Don't set them on fire. So
That's so funny, man. I love
the
it.
second is Peter Mayhew's story, and I
Cool.
Steel City in Pittsburgh.
Okay, yeah.
I'm across, and they have a bunch of people from Star Wars, and he's there. And they had this one company, I guess they do like professional cosplay. And so they had like these like really detailed, ornate, C3PO costume and
Sure.
Chewbacca. And they come with like, they have a voice box. So this Chewbacca can actually go, and,
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's epic. That was better than me, by the way.
and there's this long line of people stepping up to take a picture with this Chewbacca.
Okay.
And I look, and right across from me is Peter Mayhew, and there's no line for him. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
What?
Don't you
He's the
back away
guy.
over here. So
Oh my
I thought, well,
God.
maybe Peter's kind of enjoying it because I'm sure this guy, I mean, he's Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to take a picture with you.
Hell
Everybody,
yeah.
decides.
Oh, absolutely.
So I wanted to jump up and say, hey, guys, the real Chewbacca is right over there.
Oh my
But
God.
maybe he was enjoying the break, so I didn't say anything.
True, true, true. Yeah, maybe, maybe. I
But
have another Star Wars story to continue that. We interviewed Mark Hamill in 2012. This is going back for
yeah,
a film called Sushi Girl.
okay.
If you haven't seen it,
Like the Force Awakens stuff.
this was right when Force Awakens was starting.
Okay.
So I specifically got on the phone with him and they're like, no Star Wars. Can't
Mm,
talk Star Wars. And I was like, no worries, I got this.
yeah.
So I talked about this movie Sushi Girl, which is incredible, by the way. It's like a Quentin Tarantino esque, like gangster movie.
Okay.
Really good, fantastic cast. So I started talking about this movie. Then I jumped on voicing Joker, and of course he did it on the phone. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, it's super crazy. I like geeked out like you wouldn't believe.
I heard he's really good about that. Like if you ask him to do a voice, he'll do it.
Oh my God, dude, he does so many voices. We talked
I
about that. We talked about Metalocalypse. He voices something on that show.
I think he did like there was like a doctor or something that he did. I
Oh
remember,
man, tons of
remember
people.
yeah.
He's such a recognizable voice.
It's funny because a lot of those people who do voice, if you ask them to do a voice, they'll do it for you.
Oh yeah, totally, absolutely.
The guy who plays the soup Nazi.
Yeah, sure, sure.
I've how could I forget his
I forget his name too. Oh, it's like right on the top of my head.
name?
Larry Thomas.
Larry Thomas.
I
Thank
knew it
you.
was right on the top of my head.
Yeah. So if you ask him to do no soup for you, I mean he'll do it.
Right.
Because I remember I was at Steel City another time, and I was sitting right next to him, and I did a show with him before, so we kind of knew each other.
That's cool.
And I remember his representative came over and handed him some beer. So he was like, and he's like, "You want one?" I'm like, no, because I had a problem. So I'm like, probably not a good idea for me to, I'm gonna stay away from alcohol. And he's like, "Yeah, I want to do these. I gotta, get." I totally understand. You know, alcohol can help.
I
in Mutant
get it.
Ninja. But they would come up and they'd be like, "Oh, can you say the line?" And he would just like, "No soup for you." Like, that's so cool. I'll buy all your pictures.
Super
And,
fun.
people will ask me, can you do a line from Christmas Story? And I,
Sure. Yeah.
because it's not going to sound the same.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, it just sounds like, anyone saying it.
I used to,
You're not
just
8 anymore, right?
did. But when I hit about maybe 12, 13, someone asked me to do the line and I did it like I was re-auditioning for the part and it just sounded weird. The voice is changing,
Yeah.
bigger. You're at that awkward stage and you can see the look on their face and they were kind of embarrassed for asking and I was embarrassed for doing.
You're like, never again. That's it. Sorry, I don't do the voice.
I said I wish that I had something current that I could do a voice for because I would love to do it. Somebody said, "Hey, can you leave an outgoing message as this person?" I'm like, "Yeah," but it's just at 50, you're not going to sound like an 8-year old.
Yeah, I know, right? Totally not. All right, man. We got like a few minutes left. Do we
Sounds
want to talk about how we doing with the pod, or with the movie?
Yeah, let's give them an update on what's going on with the with
Yeah. So
Bahamas.
Ian and I are working on a film. Jaws Goes to the Bahamas, a documentary about the 40th anniversary of Jaws and the cult following that it's developed. So far, since the last time we spoke, we got Lance Guest, who plays Michael Brody. We got Mitchell Anderson, who plays Sean Brody. We got this guy Paul Downey. He wrote a book called "The Shark Is Roaring: The Story of Jaws the Revenge." It's a freaking epic book, man. Let me tell you, fantastic book. It's like hardcover, really nice, great pictures, like
Yeah.
awesome interviews. It's a fantastic book, all about Jaws 4. And we also got a brand new poster. We just got it yesterday.
Yep.
So you can put up the picture of the poster, well, on the thing.
It's on my Facebook.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Check it out.
So it's
I know
exciting, man. We got a lot going on.
I reached out to a friend. I'm not going to say just yet who it is.
I was waiting to see if you wanted to announce that. That's not official
I'm
yet.
going to wait until we know more. But let's just say he he's famous for sharks.
Cool. Yep.
So, but
Leave it at that.
I reached out to him last night. I had a good conversation. He's someone that I worked with in the past who I would actually like to get him on here and talk about
Why
that because we
not?
were talking about that a lot last night, and he wants to get that back on YouTube, and it's something that we did back in the '90s,
Sure.
or no, or like early 2000s.
Okay.
But yeah, he's going to come in and he's going to help us, and then like I said, we'll get into who he is, and I think everybody will be amazed.
Oh, this is a big deal, guys. Big deal. So we'll talk about that maybe next podcast. We'll have to see. So,
Okay,
all right, man. Sounds good. Well, listen, thanks again. And we'll talk, a couple days.
you got it, man.
All right, man. Take care.